Okay, just breaking news, just now. This is the case of Mahmoud Khalil. Mahmoud Khalil, who was, as you know, arrested. Was it a month ago or so? He was the leader of the pro-Hamas movement at Columbia University. He led the demonstrations, the harassment, was involved in the takeover of the of the building, involved in the vandalism that occurred there, and he's a green card holder, so he's very close to being a citizen. He's a green card holder and was arrested for deportation about a month ago, and today a judge ruled that she did not have the authority to stop the deportation. And that now it doesn't mean he's going to be deported immediately. He will probably appeal this ruling. So he has until, I think, next week to file to request a stay of his deportation. Actually, he has until April 23rd to request a stay of the deportation and to appeal the ruling. Now, I did a show on this early on when he was first arrested, and I think I was under the false assumption that he had been basically arrested and was going to be deported because he had been involved in illegal activities and because he had expressed, explicitly anti-American views that I think one could consider whether, and hatred for America, that one consider whether that would be appropriate for him to then become a citizen. And there were a lot of people who attacked his deportation and arrest on the basis of free speech. I mean, he has the right to have these views, and but so the question was it because of his actions, the harassment, the violence, really, the vandalism, and so on, or was it just because he had ideas? And I thought that it was because of the actions that he had taken. There are lots of people who hold the same ideas as he does that have not been deported. But it turns out I was wrong. It turns out that he was actually got an order for deportation based on a rarely used act, the McCarran-Walter Act, or the Immigration Nationality Act of 1952. And this act gives, this is a weird thing, it gives the Secretary of State, so in this case Rubio, the authority to decide that a non-citizen's presence in the United States threatens the country's foreign policy goals. Now that is just a weird characterization of what does that mean? What does it mean to threaten the country's foreign policy goals? In what way is that? Is that applied? So in this case, Rubio says the United States has a foreign policy goal to thwart anti-Semitism. And he is an advocate of anti-Semitism, therefore he's threatening our foreign policy goals, and he should be deported because of that. That seems to be a pretty convoluted argument. It seems to be a convoluted act. I haven't read the acts. I don't know exactly what it says, so we'd have to have a legal expert come on and tell us if this is actually what it means. What does it mean? Is there any kind of definition of foreign policy, a threat to foreign policy goals? It seems to give a lot of power to the Secretary of State to define foreign policy goals and then to go after people who they view as threatening it. Again, it doesn't apply to U.S. citizens, which is good. It does apply, though, to green card holders. I would rather just say that in order to become a citizen of the United States, you cannot hold ideas that make you explicitly an enemy of the United States. And supporting Hamas, I think, makes you explicitly an enemy of the United States. But nobody nobody in this administration or any of the administration would even know that. So it's complicated when we don't have a proper philosophy or proper ideas guiding our government. It's complicated when we don't have a clear definition of who our enemies are and what our interests are. All these things are complicated and become very dangerous vis-a-vis freedom of speech. I mean, look at that woman who was arrested, I guess, by masked men and thrown into an unmarked car in outside of Boston for writing an op-ed that, I mean, you could argue, maybe she threatens the country's foreign policy goals. Too ambiguous. It needs to be much more specific. A law like this is very dangerous and clearly can spill into being a threat to free speech. And look, individual rights are not only exist for citizens, they exist for all human beings. Even non-citizens, green card holders, even illegal immigrants. I know that is shocking, but even illegal immigrants have rights because they're human beings. I know that many people on the right have tried to dehumanize them in order to claim that they don't have individual rights, because they're not human after all. How could they have rights? But they actually, if they're human, they have rights, and therefore including the right to free speech, including the right to due process, including all those other rights. Anyway, it looks like Khalil's case will go to a appellate court, and we'll see what they rule and how they rule about it. But it could be that this act that they're using, that Rubio's using, it actually gives this authority to Rubio, and it could be that the courts have no authority to overturn it. I mean, they could declare the act non-objective, not specific enough, not clear, but that would require the courts to take a position which they rarely take in terms of trying to clarify a law.